If your surname is on this list, it might not be your family's real one. Behind it there's an older name, Gaelic, Norse, sometimes illegal, that somebody stopped saying out loud at a border or on a ship's manifest. Stay until number 1, because that name carries a secret that a crown spent 171 years trying to erase. Number 10. Graham. Old English, the grey home. Then in 1603 the crowns unite, and James no longer needs a lawless buffer between kingdoms he now owns. The Border Commission goes to work with written instructions about the malefactors of the name of Graham. Around 50 families are transplanted to Ireland, made to pay for their own removal, and forbidden to return. Most ended up in Ulster, then Appalachia. And in many of those families there's a story, not a record, but some wrote the name backwards to get through. Mahag. Scholars have picked it apart, but ask why the story survived 4 centuries anyway. Number 9. Campbell, from the Gaelic Cambuel, crooked mouth. Then around 1390, clerks begin writing the family down as de Campo Bello, an elegant Norman origin for a Gaelic insult, and that silent P gets inserted. A great many Campbells alive now descend not from that bloodline, but from tenants who took the name for protection. Number 8. Lamont, from the Norse for lawman. They held Cowal for centuries, until the 1640s, when they raided Campbell land and the Campbells came back with cannon. Toward and Ascog surrender on written terms guaranteeing safety, and the terms are broken the same day. Around 200 Lamont men, women and children are taken to Dunoon and killed in the churchyard. What happened to the name afterward isn't in any statute, but tradition holds the survivors became black, white or lamb. If one of those is your surname, it probably has nothing to do with Cowal, but it might. Number 7. MacFarlane, son of Parlan. They held Arashar at the head of Loch Lomond, and the neighbours called a full moon MacFarlane's lantern. Named a broken clan, put on trial, hanged and driven out. They arrived and became somebody else. McInnes, Weir, Napier, names of MacFarlane could vanish inside. They kept the war cry for a loch they no longer had any right to stand beside. Number 6. Menzies, Dalziel and Mackenzie. 3 names most people carrying them pronounce wrong, and it isn't their fault. Older Scots had a letter English lost, the yog sounding like a Y. Menzies was Mingus. Dalziel was D-Yell. Mackenzie was McKenzie. Then printing arrives, the typecases come from England, and there's no yock in the tray. A supply problem in a print shop rewrote thousands of families. If you say your name the way it's spelled, you're reading a typo 400 years old. Number 5. Buchanan, and this one breaks the pattern. It isn't a warrior word at all. It's a piece of ground east of Loch Lomond, and the Gaelic means the house of the canon, churchland, a family of clerics. But that isn't the story the Buchanans tell. Theirs begins in 1016 with a prince of Ulster driven out by Danes, winning the land in battle. So here's the turn. A family of churchmen in a warrior country needed a sword in its past, and somebody supplied one. That's survival too. Number 4. Fraser, not Gaelic, not Norse, French. They arrive as incomers and go native harder than almost anyone. Within a few generations, the chief of the Frasers of Lovat is known in Gaelic as Macshimmy, son of Simon, and his tenants speak no French at all. Then, April 1746, Culloden. The Fraser men are on that moor, and the next year, the old Lord Lovat is beheaded in London, the last man in Britain to die that way. Then the strangest turn. Fraser soldiers and cleared tenants end up in Nova Scotia, and a Norman French surname is most at home in Cape Breton, in the mouths of people singing in Gaelic. They hid where they came from, then died for where they ended up. Number 3. Comyn, from Comines, a town near Lille, another incoming family and the most powerful in Scotland, with 4 earldoms and a claim to the throne. Then in February 1306, in a church in Dumfries, Robert the Bruce kills John Comyn. 2 years later, Bruce's men break the Comyn army and burn Buchanan until there's nothing left to rally around. Bruce is the hero of the national story, and that story required this family's destruction. The name softened into Cumming, shaded into Cheney, into Russell. If you carry one of those, your people are the reason Scotland's hero needed an army. Number 2. Ruthven. Say it the way it looks and you've lost the thread. It's Riven. It belonged to one of the great houses of Perthshire until the night that ended it. In August 1600, the Earl of Gowrie and his brother die in Perth in a struggle with the king's men, in circumstances nobody has ever explained. In November, Parliament does something rare in European law. It abolishes the surname, not the title, the name. And the family seat, Ruthven Castle, is renamed Huntingtower. For 41 years, those families lived as other people. In 1641, the name goes back to one branch, but others never took it back. So there are people now carrying a different surname who are the last of that house and don't know it. Number 1. MacGregor, son of Gregor. And the clan claimed descent from the old royal line, carried in the motto, "Royal is my race." Exactly the wrong thing to say when a king is listening. February 1603, Glenfruin. The MacGregors ambush the Colquhouns, over 100 die, and the reports reaching Edinburgh are worse than the battle. On the 3rd of April, weeks before he rides south to take the English throne, James has the name declared altogether abolished. To be called MacGregor is now a capital offence. The chief and 11 of his men hang the next year, and the ban runs on and off until 1774. So they became other people: Murray, Grant, Stuart, Greer, King, Black, White. The longest sept list of any Scottish clan, and it isn't a genealogy, it's a list of hiding places. Then in 1774, with the law dead, 826 men signed a petition naming their chief, a name they had never once been legally allowed to use. But the ones already across the Atlantic never heard the law had changed. They stayed Greer, they stayed King, they stayed White. 2 surnames here were abolished by law. Every other one was traded away quietly at a border post, in a churchyard register, in a print shop that didn't stock the right letter. Nobody wrote those moments down. They just happened and got handed forward, and they're still being handed forward now. If your surname is on this list, it isn't paperwork. Somebody chose it under pressure in a bad year, and it worked. Drop your surname in the comments and tell me which of these 10 landed closest to your family. And if there's a story in your house about a name being changed or misspelled on arrival, tell me that one too.